Hello, everybody out there. It is the first Monday of June, so it is time to open the Maw of Mike and see what falls out of it this time. So this is, I hope everybody is enjoying the unofficial start to summer. If you are living in the Northern Hemisphere, if you are not, I hope you're enjoying the unofficial start to fall or winter, whatever is going on down there, where your kangaroos and your, all the rest of that, your penguins and all the rest of that stuff. I am Mr. Michael Curtis, and this is the Maw of Mike, where we get together and we talk about what's coming up in Goodman Games. We talk to some people and basically try to keep you folks knowing what's happening. So, this is June, and with it being kind of the start of summer, that means convention season. So we've just had the first kind of, we had GaryCon, but this is kind of like, the warm weather's here, so I don't know, all the cosplay is coming out and people want to go do stuff, and here we're here to talk about it. So that's it. This is convention season 2022. I'm a little punchy because I've been working the last 36 hours days, the last weekend, trying to get ready for Origins. So if I kind of go off the tracks, please forgive me. All right. So before we get too far into things, I want to remind everybody that June 25th, just a few weeks from now, is of course free RPG Day. And so if you want to get some free RPG stuff, you should check in to see if your friendly local game store is going to be participating. You can go to freerpgday.com/gamers, and you can see if your local store is up there. Yeah, thank you very much, Elena, for dropping that in the chat. And if you can't find one, well, there will be opportunities, hopefully, for you to pick up stuff later on. Goodman Games, we put stuff up after a little bit of period of time, and of course, Noble Knight Games also puts on stuff. You have to buy stuff, but you can usually get it for a penny as well. So opportunities will be there. Okay, Shade of Acres, so it's got within 10 miles a game store participating. So that's excellent. I know some people have to drive 3 miles in order to get free stuff. So that's basically, we're going to be, I've got some special guests tonight to talk about both those things I just mentioned. We're going to be talking about conventions, and we're going to be talking about free RPG Day and something else which is coming out just around that time, a little thing called DCC number 101. So if you just bear with us a little bit, and we're gonna bring some people on here and talk more about it. So we will be right back. Hey, everybody, we are back. And joining with me are two faces I'm sure that you all recognize, Jen Brinkman and Dieter Zimmerman. Jen and Dieter, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
So as you can tell, Dieter is, of course, broadcasting from his fortress of bookitude, which is probably every single wall in the apartment at this point, if I know.
It is.
And Jen is broadcasting us from a hotel room. That's strange. Why are you in a hotel, Jen?
I am in Columbus, Ohio, prepping for Origins.
I tell you, getting ready already. So this is crazy. This is how things have been, people. This has been like, we've all been working all last weekend, and we sent Jen there early just to make sure that there was, like, the hotel was still there.
to check for traps.
You just right.
In the spirit of full disclosure, John Wilson is also here with me, and we've also been able to confirm the arrival of a particular U-Haul.
Oh, okay. Hopefully we'll be having all the stuff we're going to sell. Maybe.
Or at least a very good portion of our booth.
Maybe we'll get to that before we close out this segment. But I'm surprised. Well, actually, I'm thankful that both of you are here, because the two of you not too long ago were at another convention. So
yes, just very recently, in fact, we were at MomoCon in Atlanta.
All right. So I talked briefly, and so this was Dieter. This was your first time at MomoCon.
It was my first time at MomoCon. Yes.
Jen, this was your first MomoCon as well. I have heard. Yes. I've heard much about MomoCon through Mr. Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan has been here, but was there many times, and I've heard a lot about it from him. But yeah, this was my first time there. It was an interesting experience.
I saw the pictures, and from what I see, this was not your typical kind of like old school gaming convention. What exactly is MomoCon for those of you who do not know at home?
Well, MomoCon is more of an anime convention than a gaming convention. Like there's a little bit of everything, like a lot of cons, but it's definitely seems focused primarily on anime. So it's always weird trying to sell RPG stuff at a convention that is not strictly a gaming convention. We get people who come up to the booth and they're like, literally, what is D&D?
Which is weird because I'm used to, well, is it like D&D? And then you have that gateway that you can kick open the door and say, yes, but, yes, but DCC is
Yeah,
better.
at most conventions, we can start the conversation at, hey, have you heard of DCC RPG? And they at least know what an RPG is, and that kind of thing. But at this kind of convention, you have to start like several steps before that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, several steps. I honestly had a little girl pick up a die and ask me what the D30 was and ask why there were so many of different shapes.
Okay, all right.
It hurt my soul.
Well, I mean that's interesting. It's difficult. I guess it's kind of difficult to say because this was your first MomoCon, but I'm wondering if like MomoCon 5 years ago, if the amount of people who had heard of D&D were even less 5 years ago, just because I mean the entire hobby is on kind of an upswing, and it seems to be more. Like I mean, when the New York Times, well, not that 8-year-old anime fans are reading the New York Times, but when the New York Times is doing articles on D&D and stuff, it's kind of entering more of the public consciousness. So it's just it's kind of weird that there are people out there who are at least anime or kind of like geek adjacent, and are still kind of unsure exactly what role playing is. So
geek adjacent is a really good way to put it, because there were bits of geekery and nerdism going on in all fandom factions at MomoCon, and it was really, really fun to see the level of positivity and appreciation from one cosplayer to another. And so anything going on was embraced, and there was, with the exception of a few people who went, oh, they're not magazines, they're actually books. No, with the exception of those people, I'd say that the cross section of the attendees from MomoCon were really pretty cool.
Well, you can tell the really hardcore anime fans if they pick up the book and they start reading it from the back.
Right.
Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. So I saw pictures of Brendan running games, and it literally looked like he was the only person running games in like an airplane hangar.
It was the Brendan ran several games, and Tim was running some games too. So that we had two people there running games at least. But yeah, it's always great when Brendan runs, because people drop by the booth afterwards excited about DCC.
Oh, well, good. I mean, that's the cunning plan that has kept
I know.
Kept us in the business for 10 years.
I mean, people play it and they want it. Like who knew that works?
And Brendan is like the secret weapon too. I mean, it's like like how can you not have fun?
Very much.
So and the reason he runs such good games is because he just doesn't want to work the booth.
So, I'm starting to think there's some truth to that, Mike.
I know there's truth to that. He has told me flat out, right? Like I would rather run 7 games in a row than work 7 minutes at the booth if I have to.
See, and I'm completely the opposite. Like I would much rather be standing at the booth than out there running games.
That's why this company works so well. It's the alignment are all balanced. So. Well, I know question, because I know we debuted something at MomoCon, which will be making appearance of Origins, and that is the demon mask. For those of you who have not seen pictures, we've had a custom mask made of the big one-eyed demon on the front of Sailors of the Starless Sea.
Chaos Lord.
the Chaos Lord.
Chaos Lord.
Now the question is, can you make change while wearing the Chaos Lord mask? Because that was
Yes.
Well, I can't wear the mask because my head is too freaking big.
Yeah, Mike, you're gonna luck out on that one too. It does, however, fit me perfectly. It was quite the experience.
Because Joe was saying, yeah, well, this way it'll be easy to find who to check out with. I'm like, I don't know if you can make change if you're wearing that thing, you know. I mean,
we can't do it at Origins or Gen Con this year because we still have the mask requirements. And so with the Chaos Lord, there's an open face part, so you have to actually have the cloth mask. And with that in place, no, that blocks your sight line. You can't actually ring anybody up on the iPad. Sorry, Joe. But it's still really, really entertaining.
okay. Well, I mean, I at Origins, at the last Origins that I was at, which was 2019, I got to wear a diving helmet. So every Origins is time to put new stuff on my head. So we'll see what's going on this year.
Do we have a diving helmet again? Because that would be awesome.
I don't know. It wasn't us. It was somebody was selling some like, you know, underwater board game or something, and they had a diving helmet. And as we were packing up, I went across and said, "Can I put on the helmet?" And they said, "Sure." And Brendan took a bunch of pictures with me wearing the diving helmet. So, all right. Well, I'm glad. Who was the musical artist that you were checking out?
Mega Ran. He's a nerd rapper. Like he did raps about Final Fantasy VII and The Mandalorian and stuff like that. Yeah, and then one of the highlights of the con for me was at the end of his show, he just does this freestyle where you hold up whatever objects you have in your pocket and he raps about it. I happened to have an Andre Norton book with me and got him to name drop Andre Norton in a rap.
I'm not 100% certain, but that I'm 98% certain that's the first time that has ever happened.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, I am glad that we had you had a good time at MomoCon. I'm glad it was a good experience. I hope we sold some books, at least enough for gas to get you there and back. Would you go back again next year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's already talk of upgrading our position in the dealer's hall by them. They want to
that's right.
a better spot.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you were in the greater Atlanta area or can get there, come check us out in 2023, and you can play games with Brendan and maybe wear a demon mask and drop Andre Norton's name into a rap. No, but let us look forward. Let us look forward into something that, as somebody is already there, and one of us will be getting up at the crack of early tomorrow to get on a plane to go to, and somebody will be coming in the day after. So, and that is Origins in Columbus, Ohio. Origins 2022. And I was going to mention the last time I was in Columbus, Ohio was 2019. And it looks like it's going to continue the tradition of me going to Origins and it raining.
Thanks, Mike.
It's not me. It's every time I show up, it's a city, you know. I mean,
it was beautiful in Atlanta.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll try to wreck MomoCon next year. Maybe I'll get to go down there. So I took a look at the map on the dealer's hall because we're trying to figure out where we were going to be, and we have a big square. I mean, you know, they usually have those little. This is a big one. So I mean,
what could all that space be used for?
I don't know. I mean, would you say that this is kind of like going to be Gen Con light in some way, or at least kind of like the let's see if everything works for Gen Con? Do we have I know what's going on, but I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about. You know, I think it's probably best to kind of let the people walk in and see what's going to be there, and I don't want to get an angry email from Joe.
Best.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that it will be obvious which booth is ours.
Oh, okay.
The booth is larger than last time, but it's also facing the back of the hall, so you'll have to kind of scout around, and then once you see us, you'll know it's us.
Okay. All right, that's good. So and that is the U-Haul truck that has arrived is has special stuff in it. All right.
A whole lot of pallets.
So I know. So I'm going to be there. In addition, the two of you obviously going to be there, and John in the background somewhere there. So it's going to be they're going to be us. Elena will be joining us. We're going to be broadcasting live, theoretically, if all goes well. Brendan will be making his reappearance there as my ongoing roommate and sometimes snuggle buddy, depending on how many people we have in a hotel room. Chris Doyle is joining us. I think he's going to be running some 5e stuff. I will be running DCC. Brendan will be running DCC, probably some X-Crawl. Who else am I?
A particular. I shouldn't even make allusions or nicknames for him. Mr. Kovacs may be joining us later in the week as well.
Okay. All right. So maybe Doug will be coming out. So if you are attending Origins, you've got some good stuff are going to be in the future there. Do we have any? I forgot to ask you. I was going to ask you this beforehand, but Jen, do we have 0-level scratch-offs?
We have 0-level scratch-offs for MCC and DCC, as well as convention-specific dice.
Ooh, can you tell us more about convention-specific dice?
Well, there's 14 different dice in each set, and
all right.
Well played. Yeah. We're all getting a little punchy now, Mike.
It was definitely so. But so we have are these special Origins dice? I don't remember. There's been
no, they're dice that are sold specifically at the conventions, not available on the website or through retailers.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Got you. All right.
And there are a lot of them. We're not going to run out.
Not until Gen Con.
Okay.
Yeah, Gen Con we might run out. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is that if
you want dice, come to the booth at Origins or very early in Gen Con.
We've also got some shelf files of holding for you.
Yeah. I unfortunately this year, unlike the last time in 2019, Origins actually fell on the same weekend as Free RPG Day. So that was
that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Remember that we were giving out stuff at the booth for free, but unfortunately we will not be doing that this year. At least but we still will have we'll still have the usual bevy of stuff. So I mean, you get to see something that probably, again, much like Andre Norton being dropped in a rap battle, this might be the first time at Origins or at any game conventions we are going to have something that has not been done before. I mean, some other companies have done stuff similar, but us, there's a certain vibe that we do, and we're definitely going to attend that. I mean,
we do it our own way.
We do it our own way. I mean, we have gongs, we have blood bowls, we have, so, we've got to do it. Everybody knows about the Wizard Band, but that's later on down the road, maybe something special for Origins. So if everybody's saying like, oh, they're going to have the Wizard Band there, maybe not. No. So, all right. Well, all right. Well, I think I am looking forward to seeing you both in person. Jen, I saw you at Gen Con, GaryCon. I don't remember the last time.
I feel like I haven't seen you since like before times.
Yeah.
I think that is correct. So, all right. Well, I appreciate both of you for coming on and talking for a little while about Origins. And Jen, get some sleep. Tomorrow starts early, I'm sure. And Dieter, don't drive angry. You're driving in, right?
Yeah, I'm driving.
I figured.
And my secret is I always drive angry.
All right. Well, I'll see you too, and I hope if anybody who's watching this either now or asynchronously is going to make it and say come by the booth, say hi to me, say hi to Jen, say hi to Dieter, say hi to John there in the background.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing all of you.
Is Emogoth going to be there?
Emogoth will be there too. Yes.
So say hi to Emogoth. All right. All right.
John's sad to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. We are back, and joining me is Marzio, and Marzio Muscadet.
Mushedre.
Say, there
That's
you go.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
perfect, Mike. Right on.
I can barely remember my name, Mushedre. It's exactly how it's written, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
So, but I'm sure you've lived with that all your life, and you.
Oh
can
yeah,
figure-
no problem.
Okay. All right. So that's right. So, all right. Well, thank you thanks for coming on, Mario. Welcome to the show for the first time.
Hey, I'm very happy to be on here for the first time. You could have at least flossed in here. What's going on in this Maw? Give it a quick floss. I'm showing up.
You know what? I mean,
I know you've been busy. You've been busy. I'll give you that.
I've been very busy this week. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts. Some of which we will speak about now. So
right.
So as I mentioned at the start of the show, June 25th is Free RPG Day, and we have the usual Free RPG Day adventure for DCC, a little something called Danger in the Air, which I am responsible for. But after a long kind of quiet time of pandemics and everything else going on, we announced DCC 100 a long time ago. As everybody knows, we finally kickstarted DCC 100, and once that got in, we said, you know what, we're not waiting. We know it's going to be a while before DCC 100 hits, but people have been waiting 2-3 years. It's time to get the line going again. DCC 101, and I reached out. I said, Marzio, you want to write an adventure?
That's right. That's exactly what you said. In fact, I got the email, and it was just entitled DCC Funnel ? And I was like, ooh, what can this mean? That was the email I got from you there.
I learned how to commission stuff from Joe. He's very good. Yeah, sometimes he would just send pictures of stuff,
right.
With no explanation.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
that's when we got the library license. Like, all he sent was a picture of the contract. There was just literally a photo of the contract and like no explanation whatsoever. I was like, what? So yeah. So at least you kind of knew what you're getting into. There was going to be a funnel involved, and so.
No, yeah. Truthfully, you did. I'm opening up the email. It talked about the huge achievement that was DCC 100, and it's not like you reached the top of the mountain. You guys are going to keep this thing going, and you wanted to start in basically like a start fresh. DCC 101 was going to be the funnel, and then you were going to put out different level modules as it went ahead.
Right.
And I remember you say in the email you wrote, you can write whatever you want, make whatever pitch you want. You're free reign. Just 2 caveats. One, start the adventure in the middle of the action. And I remember you used the example of think of Sailor on the Starless Sea. Think of the PCs as if they started that adventure from the ziggurat and making their way out. So that was the one caveat. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. That's not a problem. And then the other one was, and you have 1 month to write it and go. And that was it. I had 1 month to go, the month of February, to write it. And
I'm a giving director of product development.
Oh, yeah, perfect. I loved it. Yeah.
I have been on the other side of that, so I know what it's like. I've been on the side of Joe, you have 2 weeks. Can you do 10,000 words in 2 weeks?
Well, that's tough.
And it's the Scotty thing. Once you do it once, once you prove that you're a miracle worker once, they expect it from you all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as you were saying, it's because of the pandemic, Joe was very smart about kind of giving away the free, kind of the free quick start and stuff like that. DCC saw a lot of growth. Strangely, when people are sitting home for 2 years with nothing to do, they start to say, hey, what can I do for free from home? And people started discovering DCC, so we started getting a lot of people in, people who were new to the game. So we said, okay, now DCC 101, we're not going to reboot the game, but let's start this cycle all over again. So let's start with a fresh funnel. So obviously these the Sailors on the Starless Sea is a classic one, Portal Under the Stars, Frozen in Time. But people have done a lot of those, so we wanted to do something a little different that was still very much the DCC feel. So, so I think you did an incredible job of doing that. You know, when I was reading that, it was, you know, there was a lot of very evocative stuff in there. I was able to kind of able to pick out, like, I feel this, I know kind of whose literary style is like, is playing this, or kind of like where you're getting this from, and this imagery and all the rest of that. So, so Midnight Green discovered DCC at the beginning of the pandemic. So that's so things are working as planned. So I'm glad you discovered it. So so do you want to give people kind of like the 1,000-mile overview of what? Oh, so we should say, so DCC 101 is called The Veiled Vaults of the Onyx Queen, and and we have the cover out there somewhere. If Elena may have put it up already, I can't see, so if she hasn't, I'm sure it'll show up soon. But so kind of what's the rough overview without being too spoilerific about?
So like once you gave me the green light to go, a million things are racing through my head on what's this funnel going to be, and the whole time I'm kind of like brainstorming those couple days after. Every time I turn on the news, there's talk of this is the year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The Platinum Jubilee of the Queen is in full swing. Preparations are in order. And I was like, what is a Platinum Jubilee? And so I looked it up, and then I was like, oh, that's something I can work with. What kind of Jubilee sounds badass, like sounds DCC? And I found the 95th year is called the Onyx Jubilee. And there we go. That's the whole adventure. So the whole premise of the adventure is it's the Queen's Onyx Jubilee. It's the 95th year of her glorious reign, and the entire realm is in preparations. Royal servants go out into the community to find local or just common villagers that excel at their given profession, and they're allowed to come to the palace to prepare for the Onyx Jubilee. Now, granted, when they get to the palace, things don't go well. And the adventure begins, right? That's the whole premise of the adventure. So 0 levels are brought to the palace to prepare for the Queen's Onyx Jubilee, and then mayhem ensues.
I mean, because there's nothing sketchy about a potentate celebrating 95 years of being in power.
No, nothing at all. I can't think of a thing.
I mean, lots of 5-year-olds get coronated and they reign for 100 years. They don't reign for 95 years. So, so this is like I said, as you're saying, it's like I wanted to do something where I mean, it's like basically a lot of the funnels is like that call to adventure. It's like, like, let's go up to the spooky castle and see what happens in there. And this one is like, let's get out of the spooky castle.
Yeah. And I think it's a great idea, because I can't tell you the amount of games sometimes, and you'll know, any game master will know, any judge will know. Sometimes inevitably there'll be somebody at your convention table that wants to do anything but the adventure sometimes. You know what I mean? And even like Starless Sea, which is very clear cut. You're going to go to the castle and investigate where the villagers have gone. But there's always somebody who wants to go shopping or something. This adventure, which I think will be a great con game, is you're already in the middle of it. Like begin. There's no sidetrack prior to the event action starting, right? So your last knowledge as a PC is entering the palace, and that's it. And then the adventure begins, right? So I thought that was a great idea by you to get this adventure going right from the jump.
Yeah, I mean, just like you really, because I'm very much, we've had discussions about like how to write funnels before and everything, and I'm very, very much in the idea like a funnel should be done and should be run and done. It should be so you should be playing 4 sessions, doing a funnel. It's just because that's not what DCC is. Like the DCC is, that's part of DCC, but DCC is like everything that happens once you get out of that funnel. So this was kind of the perfect way of like, this is the situation, let's get out of it, and and we'll get out of it hopefully as first level. So. So some people are saying in the chat, like we're saying that they were heard that this was inspired by Robert E. Howard and Clark Ashton Smith. Can you confirm or deny that? There,
I can confirm all of this. First of all, anything I write is inspired by Robert E. Howard. That is the baseline of where I begin. That's just where I go. And absolutely right. Clark Ashton Smith is another big influence. And this adventure specifically is 2 stories. So it's probably my favorite Clark Ashton Smith story, which is the Charnel God. So it draws inspiration from the Charnel God, and then a Lovecraft story that he penned as Harry Houdini. I don't know if you guys remember that. He wrote, I guess he ghost wrote for Harry Houdini, and it's supposed to be one of these crazy adventures Harry Houdini got in real life, and it's called Imprisoned with the Pharaohs. Those 2 stories, they stuck with me over the years. The Charnel God I probably read once a year because it's just an awesome short story. those were the two major influences in this adventure. So you are correct, whoever's out there saying they heard it. What you heard is true. It is Clark Ashton Smith, H.P. Lovecraft, and of course Robert E. Howard.
So I mean that's pretty much the big three of Weird Tales. So you can't go wrong with that.
No.
I mean, those are the three musketeers. So so very much in the DCC vein. So I mean, you it says right on the tin. I mean, it's playing DCC. You might as well. You're going to get that experience. So there's, without getting too much into spoilers, is there a specific part of that adventure that that you like more than others? Is there? I mean that's asking like which one of your child is your favorite, but I mean, is there something that you had a particular like malicious chuckle when you were writing? I mean, or this is what always happens to me. I know I've had a good writing day if when I'm done I look back and I say I have no idea where that came from.
So this is okay. You want the poem I wrote at the beginning that opens the adventure. I went straight Hemingway, and let me clarify. I don't even know if Hemingway's a poet. He just sounds real important. So I wrote this poem for the beginning of the adventure, and I kept on reading this. I wrote it laying in bed on my tablet, and I don't know why. It just came to me. I'm like, I have to start this adventure with some kind of like poem, and it came out, and that's probably my favorite thing because it's so not really what I do. I mean, none of this is really what I do, but it's what I do. You know what I mean? So I'm particularly impressed and happy with my little poem at the beginning. That's supposedly it's an epitaph found scratched inside an empty coffin or an empty tomb. That's the genesis of the poem anyway.
Well,
but there's other things I think people will find way better than that poem. But if you're asking me my specific thing, it's that little crappy, 8-liner or whatever it is.
That's I mean that's the great thing about writing these things is I mean because you're very much you're entertaining the fans. Hopefully they're going to pick this up and play and have a good time, but at the same time it's like I think when you do things like that it helps you get into the proper mental space to be kind of bring that out, and once you are in that mental space the players and the judge are going to pick up on it. I mean it's just like by osmosis. They can I know from experience people can tell when they're playing through an adventure that you were like really in love with and were really and there's other times where you're just like I had to hit a deadline and and there was no choice, but it's like like if I had another month to work on this it could be something very different, but that's unfortunately that's sometimes that's just the way the industry works.
Right. No, but you're right, and that's one of the things advice I always give when people we've done those those shows, how to write a good adventure and all that kind of stuff, is as if you're writing, like never treat your imagination as a finite source. It's completely infinite. So if something gets in your head, go with it, explore it. You don't, because it's like a dream, right? Like if you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm going to remember this dream, and if you don't write it down you won't remember it. Same thing sometimes with like writing ideas. If you don't go and try to explore where it's going, you might never use it. That's fine, but you might use it. And if you don't, it kind of fizzles. Like I don't know how many, one word, like couple sentence things I have written in a book that don't mean anything to me anymore, but they probably meant a lot if I would have explored them at the time. So that's where the poem came from. It came to me laying in bed, so I wrote it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so here's a question for you. All right, so if if somebody runs veiled vaults for the crowd and everything, they get through, they have survived, they have their first level adventures. If you had to suggest kind of like where to go next, would maybe like keep the tone going in that mind or something like, could you suggest what might be a good follow-up to it directly after? I mean, like obviously a first level, which I'm going to write, but an adventure you're going to write, but out of what's kind of already out there, because
that's already out there. That's I never thought of that. I do know this though, and this is one of the things, probably one of my another favorite thing that I wrote about the adventure, kind of leading into what you're saying. I wrote this thing specifically with what I believe is solid thematic reasons built into the adventure for where your PCs should go at the end in terms of class and gaining spells and selecting patrons and worshiping deities, right? I think I was never a big fan of, you get 10 XP and you level up, right? And sure, that works. But what if your character were like to read something that they shouldn't have read, and suddenly they like a spell is burned in their mind, or they write some wrong during the adventure, and next thing you know, they hear the voice of a god in their head. Like they're going to probably want to be a cleric, right? Or you come across an idol that opens a doorway to or a link to a supernatural patron, right? So all that is built in this adventure, specifically because I love the idea that DCC has never been about stats. The last thing I wanted someone to do at the end of my adventure is like, oh, I guess he's got a 14 intelligence. I guess he'll be a wizard. You know what I mean? That's not DCC. For me, it's, oh my God, I fell into another portal dimension and now I know 3 spells, right? That's when you become a wizard. So, but where to follow up on this adventure? I don't know. I really,
Okay.
probably the next one you write, Mike. How about that?
Well, we might be waiting for a while then. It's just
Yeah.
one thing I've learned is that, my the time I have to spend to things nowadays is not as much as I used to, unfortunately. So I have to pick and choose my battles carefully, which is good for people like you. That means it's better opportunities to write what Mike can.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm kind of 9 months into the new job now, and I'm beginning to discover there's a reason why Joe hasn't really written a DCC module since 2012.
Right.
So he did a couple of the first batches, and I'm like, wow, there's not a lot of time to do this. So
well, I got your back, Mike. I'll write them. I'll write some. The more you let me write, the more I will.
All right. So all right. I need 10,000 words by Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, no, that's stretching it there for sure.
Yeah. So, oh well. All right. So obviously, Marzio's DCC 101 is going to be available, and I just wanted to very briefly cover speaking of writing adventures and not being not being able to write more of them. I did kind of take an advantage and sneak in for the free RPG Day 1, which is another funnel. So if Marzio's Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, Clark Ashton Smith funnel doesn't quite, maybe you want to do something a little different, you can do Danger in the Air, which is actually inspired a lot more by Stanley Weinbaum and a little bit of Frederick Brown, because I wanted to do something which we haven't really done much with that. So and those 2 authors are mostly known for their science fiction and some more like alien worlds and stuff. But I wanted to do an idea which is basically, I wanted to do a UFO story which didn't have a UFO. So that's where, if you've seen the cover, and you probably will see the cover because I maybe Elena will drop it in if she has not done already. It features a giant floating jellyfish over a small little town, and it's a space jellyfish basically, or as I call it, the void jellyfish. And it's a little matter of kind of going in and checking out what's inside the jellyfish. So I've actually I use that as the funnel for the DCC campaign we're kind of running right now, and we had a lot of fun going on then. There's some little sidebars in the adventure. If you check out Danger in the Air, you will learn about Space Electrum, and please introduce Space Electrum into your own campaign. And I the other thing I can say about this is, yes, the cover is amazing, and Stefan Pogue has done the best pig I have ever seen in my lifetime. I just, when we had to go through, and I said, whatever you do, keep the pig. I love the little farmer with the pig on there. The pig is just like, oh, I've had a better day than this. So that will be available at your free local game store. And this time around, we left a QRC right in the front cover that will take you directly to the Purple Sorcerer game site. So if you pick this up, and you can immediately, pop on your phone and get yourself 4 zero level characters and start going into it. You have to give somebody like an hour to read it, but it's not huge. So all right. So we've kind of lost the cover temporarily. So I'm sorry. You can do a search, however, on the website, the Goodman Games website, and check it out and see Stefan's pick. So that is it. So June 25th, free RPG Day, you'll be able to get Danger in the Air, and you'll be able to get the Veiled Vaults of the Onyx Queen. Getting ready, and this is a perfect time to start off a new DCC campaign, and you have got 2 funnels to do so. So I mean, I start getting plans together now. Start figuring. Go to the link we talked about, letfreerpgday.com/gamers, and find out where in your local neighborhood you can go and stop and pick it up. And if you might not be able to get, if you can't get free RPG Day, Frozen Danger in the Air, you can definitely pick up the Veil Vaults of the Onyx Queen, because that will be available through the Goodman Games website. So there you go. So you don't have to worry about getting to a friendly local game store. Marzio, so I think you're gonna do more business than me. So congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Oh, time.
So anything else you want to say about Veiled Vaults before we kind of just go to this is what's coming down the line for the people at home?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing this one. I think it'll translate when you guys read it and play it. And please, like, sometimes I'll speak for myself. It's almost like I'm in a vacuum sometimes, right? You don't hear. I'd love to hear what people think of the adventures I write, and I'm sure every author loves to hear it. So if you like it, tell me. If you love Mike's work, tell him. If you think Stephen Newton's bomb, then let him know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just fuel to the fire for me to want to write more stuff. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I had a blast writing it, and should be good. Can't wait.
All right. Well, Marzio, thank you very much for coming on the show to talk about it. I hope to have you back on again soon to talk about the next thing that you'll be working on.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break and get myself together, and then announcements of what's coming up down the line and what to look forward to. So we'll be right back. So just bear with us a little bit longer. Thank you. Hello, and welcome back to the Maw of Mike. Before we wrap things up, I'm going to talk to you about kind of what's going on, what's happening, and what's heading your way. We're going to wrap things up a little early tonight because, as I mentioned early, I have to get up at the crack of early to get on a plane and go to Origins. And it's been a long day. But obviously, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of plates spinning, so let's cover some ground here. So those of you who have not heard, which is like 2 of you in the background, we are we're getting close to the end of the Dark Tower Kickstarter for the original Adventures Reincarnated line, or number 7, and and this is the first time we're actually going to be doing specifically for D&D, for 5th edition and for DCC. And I think if you watch any of the Twitch shows that we've been, talking about Dark Tower, Dark Tower is one of the most DCC old school adventures that I have ever encountered. Janelle like was not writing for DCC, but DCC really goes back to that time where we don't know what the heck we're doing, and we're kind of drawing inspiration from all sorts of great things, and it definitely is there on the page. Janelle is an amazing designer, and if you have never seen Dark Tower before, it would behoove you to check it out now. If you're not already backing it, please consider it. If we hit 400,000, which last time I checked was maybe about 2 days ago when I was writing these show notes, we were only about 25K away from there. So if we hit 400,000, Bob Brinkman is going to do a special DCC adventure specifically written in what we are calling the Dark Tower section of the Janelleverse. So if you like Bob's stuff, and this is, we're going to get more set and Mitra and Egyptian themed and Conan-esque excitement. This is, please consider backing it. So I'm looking forward to that. It's been a lot of fun putting that together, and I hope to do more of it. Thank you, Judge. Willie. My eyes are shut, but thank you for backing it. So waiting for the Bob runs the whole thing stretch goal. You're gonna have to talk to Bob about that. Even that's not a stretch goal. Maybe you can convince him too. Right now we've got about 1 more week going on. You might have heard that we are doing the mega bundle of holding for the DCC 50 dungeons of Mega Dungeon Holding. This is, of course, back from the iteration of DCC before it was now. This is the 3.0, 3.5 era. But you will find in that, you'll find Castle White Rock, you will find Gazetteer of the No Realms. A lot of people ask about Gazetteer of the No Realms, whether it be reprinted and everything. I do not think it will be reprinted for DCC RPG in that format. I have plans about if we were ever revisit it, and it would be very different. But for those of you who are interested kind of about some of the history of things that are referred to in the DCC RPG, it's not really the house setting anymore, but we still kind of do mind that for thing. You can find it all here, some great cool maps and everything. and of course, you know, the bundle goes to help out the San Francisco Marin Food Bank, so it is for a good cause. So, and I mean, you get more PDFs than you'll get a chance to read through. So trust me. And a lot of people have actually been asking about it, like how do you convert these over to DCC, and on social media and like the Discord channel, people have been very helpful. So you know, I mean, if you want to check it out and run it for your home groups, somebody will be able to help you to kind of like handhold you through the process of getting it up to speed. Now I'm going to mention something that people might have thought we had forgotten about. But this is also coming from a company that it took us like 6 years to put out our annual. The 2021 yearbook. Remember 2021? It was like yesterday, wasn't it? It was like, well, this is finally headed off to the printer. It is on the way there to this week. Matt is tirelessly working together to kind of get the PDF as ready as well. It's still going to be a little while because it is crazy. If you've heard people in the business complaining about how long it takes to get stuff printed again, it's not a big conspiracy. It actually is. So you know, it might be out, you know, fall, but I will be doing our best to get it out before the 2022 yearbook, which is currently in development right now. So we definitely want to get the 2021 out before we get 2022. So things are going along there. So thank you for those of you who've been waiting for it. Thank you for everybody who pre-ordered it. We appreciate your patience. You know, it's still crazy times, and we're still that log jam I complained about. It's mostly broken up and things are moving again, but we're not 100% there yet. So that is heading our way, and we had him actually on a couple of months ago. Tim Snyder came on to talk about MCC number 12, When Manimals Attack, and of course, because I think Manimals Attack will actually be out this month, June 15th, both at your local friendly gamer retailers and at the Goodman Game online store. So if you're in the mood for some DCC action, for some MCC action, which involves weird manimals and you know, gene splicing, all the rest of that stuff, please do check it out. And yes, as you mentioned, that is a boss cover. That is a boss cover. That of course is done by Ken Kelly, who unfortunately is known for his great work. He many album covers. If you're a Kiss fan, you know his stuff. As Marzio had pointed out on social media, his favorite Frazetta cover was actually done by was done by Ken Kelly. For years he thought it was somebody else. We just passed away just recently. He of course has done work for Goodman the last few years, especially near and dear to my heart. He did the Chain Coffin reprint, that awesome cover, the chain with kind of the ziggurat with that green and dark thing. It's absolutely wonderful. So he will be greatly missed by not only metal fans, Man of War fans and Kiss fans are gathered together in, you know, in shared sympathy right now, but also those of us here at Goodman Games. Godspeed to you, Ken Kelly, and the best to your family. Speaking of MCC, if you are interested in picking up the soft cover, which we just announced this year, I would get on that now because we are almost sold out. The first time starter bundle has proved to be very as popular with MCC as it proved for DCC, and we are running out. So you know, and once we run out, as I said, aforementioned problems with printers, it might be 6 months before we get the soft cover back in time. So if you're going to Origins, we might have some there. But you know, if you are not going to Origins and you definitely want to pick up one, please hit the Goodman Games website and start adding that to your shopping cart now. So I would place an order there. So next month, I'm going to be joined by some very wonderful people to talk about DCC Day, which of course is July, which well, I say of course it's July, but it moves around every year, it seems, just because that's what happened. But this year it is going to be July. You get twice the DCC goodness. You get free RPG Day, and then a month later we have DCC Day. We have made the announcement, of course, if you've been following the website, you've been following social media, you know that there is a bevy of stuff which is going out for DCC Day. We are going to have the annual DCC Day Adventure Pack, which has 2 adventures in it, one by Brendan LaSalle and one by Marzio, if I remember correctly. So I should have him come. Marzio, you get to come back on next month. We'll talk about that then. So with that, we're going to have another one which is called which is Chanters in the Dark. That is DCC day number 3, and that is written by Daniel Bishop. And this is going to be an interesting one, because that is one that you can play as a direct follow-up to Sailors on the Starless Sea. Like literally, like as soon as the action ends on Sailors on the Starless Sea, you can roll right into Chanters in the Dark. And Daniel provides some ways to level up those 0 level characters and get them first level while they're still going on adventures and stuff. Definitely worth checking out. And then of course there is going to be the Book of Fallen Gods, which is a collection of patrons that I and Marzio and Daniel and Brendan and Bob Brinkman, we all kind of compiled on that. 7 new patron writes up, invoke patron spells, spell burn, patron chains. And those are going to be tied in with a set of 7 dice as well. So there's some kind of some market synergy between the two, if you want to gear that. My mouth feels filthy just saying about that. But I want to bring this up. The dice are not going to be included in the DCC day kits. So if your friendly local game store is going to be participating in in DCC day, please check in with them and let them know that they have to order those dice separately. They're not as part of the kit. So we've been having a lot of people who have been, they are kind of a la carte add-ons. People have been ordering the DCC day kits, but many people have not been ordering the dice. So if you want them, your DCC, your friendly local game store is participating, call them, make sure that they have ordered the dice if you want to get them. And because those DCC day kits are almost sold out. So if your local store hasn't done it, I would get on them and say, hey, why don't you get one of the DCC kits? And while you're doing that, pick up some of these dice because I want them and I'm going to buy them. And there's 7 sets and I want to give you all this money. If they're smart, they'll buy it. So yeah. So that is next month. So please, by all means, we're just looking out for you. Speaking of dice, the Chaotic Wizard dice and the Hellcat dice are both back in stock. So if you've been looking for those, we're also going to have the Maned Worm and the 3-legged Gowl dice are also going to be back in stock probably around the 15th, probably around the middle of June. So there's going to be plenty of dice. As we started this whole thing talking about special dice at Origins. We're going to have more dice than to choke a 3-legged Gowl, apparently, by the time this is going on. So that is that. That is kind of what is in the immediate future. And as you know, is here on Maw of Mike. When there's stuff to announce, I will announce it. So there you go. We'll be back in about a month with the point of Maw of Mike is we always broadcast on the first Monday of the month. I looked at the calendar. The first Monday of July is July 4th. So it is likely we're going to have to move next month's show. So, but that will be announced once we figure out what's going on. But so that kind of that covers up for about the month. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to get to bed because it's been a long day and I got to get up really early. So thank you for doing that. Keep your eyes out on the Goodman Games website. Keep your games going on here. If there's more MCC modules coming. Okay. Yes, that is happening. In fact, I just announced MCC 12 is coming along right now, and there's going to be an adventure in the adventure pack. So yeah, so more stuff is happening. So do not. So that's another good reason to go pick up the soft cover before it's sold out, because the stuff is coming down the line, and more will be announced, when that is ready to do. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Maw of Mike. I hope I answered some of your questions. I hope we entertained you for about 54 minutes, and I'm off to bed. So thank you very much, and I will see you all in a month. So I hope to see some of you at Origins. Please stop by the booth. Say hi. We'll be there. All right. Good night, everybody.